Just finished dinner. Nice barbecue. We've got some olives. So excuse me while I finish my dinner. Got my youngest daughter here with me.
Hello.
A bit louder. She said, hello. She said it exactly like that too. So I'll just finish my dinner. A couple of people will jump on. And we'll talk about Office of Local Government. Olives with a bit of chilli. That's pretty good. Got a legal file here. It's the one I showed you the other day. We'll go through that in a minute. There are a few other things to take you through. And to help me get through it, let's have a little bit of pale ale while we're at it. North of Nowhere. Aldi. And it's behaving tonight. So don't mind me while I have a beer. So we're going to talk about Snowy Monaro Regional Council and where we're at with all of this stuff. So a couple of things. On my laptop, I've got some legislation open. What I was looking at, if I can find it, enforcement of a performance improvement order against a councillor, section 438, capital H, capital A. And the Aldi beer does go okay, actually. We're not too proud to shop at Aldi. We quite like Aldi. Just the one. So 438, capital H, capital A, Local Government Act, New South Wales, 1993. Enforcement of a performance improvement order against a councillor. So 1, the departmental chief executive may, in brackets, and must, at the request of the minister, close brackets, arrange for a departmental report to be prepared as to whether a councillor has failed to take action as required by a performance improvement order. Email to Mark Davis, my lawyer. And it said it's from a Damien Coluccio at OLG. Private and confidential correspondence from the Office of Local Government, LREF Alpha 951868-DC. Dear Councillor Thaler, please find attached correspondence from the Office of Local Government. Yours sincerely, Office of Local Government, without a name at the bottom. And then it says 17th of March. Private and confidential. And it's 3 pages, and it's from Jennifer Hickey, Executive Director, Sector Performance, Office of Local Government. Now, whilst it says private and confidential, problem is this has been leaked to the media. So it ain't private and confidential. And so many people are ringing me asking about it. I'm going to do what I did about the police warrant. I'm just going to read it out to you. And I'll tell you what it is. And to hell with the consequences. So, private and confidential to Kur Ansel Andrew Thaler, Kara Mark Davis, XD Law, redraft departmental report. Dear Councillor Thaler, the Office of Local Government has received information alleging that you may have engaged in misconduct concerning videos and comments posted on your social media accounts between 5 and 14th of March 2025. I should just put a note in it while I remember. We don't have a social media policy at SMRC. We don't have a social media policy at the Snowy Monaro Regional Council. I'm writing to notify you that Mr. Brett Whitworth, that's that guy, Deputy Secretary, local... Sorry, that's a hashtag. This will be the 11th year code of conduct. I've got a video of him talking, and he's got this beard that moves like this when he talks, and so that's what he looks like. I'm writing to notify you that Mr. Brett Whitworth, Deputy Secretary, Local Government, has requested the preparation of a departmental report pursuant to Section 440 capital H in brackets 5 capital A close brackets of the Local Government Act 1993, the Act. The purpose of the departmental report is to assist the Deputy Secretary to determine whether your conduct in relation to these videos and comments amounts to misconduct as defined in Section 440F1 and 438HA11 of the Act. Mr. Whitworth is corrupt. He's an idiot. He argued with me about the legal interpretation of the reasonable person test. And I've got the video of that exchange when he got the shits with me when I asked, are you using the reasonable person as defined in the Wikipedia? So if you go to Wikipedia and you look at the definition of a reasonable person, which I can do, reasonable person definition, I sound like Dory. It comes up with Wikipedia, reasonable person, a hypothetical person. In law, a reasonable person, a reasonable man, sometimes referred to situationally, is a hypothetical person whose character and care conduct, doesn't make sense, under any common set of facts is decided through reasoning or good practice or policy. It is a legal fiction. And this Whitworth guy said, no, it's a legal thing. It's not a fiction. It's a real legal thing. And I said to him, it's a legal fiction, mate. It's called The Man on the Back of the Clapham Bus. That's the treatment in common law and comes out of the UK. So it's meant to be the department or the minister asking for this shit and the secretary making a finding, not the deputy secretary. So Whitworth shouldn't be involved. The purpose of the departmental report is to assist the Deputy Secretary to determine whether your conduct in relation to these videos and comments amounts to misconduct as defined in section. Misconduct of a councillor means any of the following. A contravention by the councillor of this act or the regulations. B, failure by a councillor to comply with an applicable requirement of a code of conduct. C, failure by a councillor to comply with an order issued by the departmental chief executive under this division. We haven't got one of them. We've got a minister's order. D, an act of disorder committed by the councillor at a meeting of the council or a committee of the council. Well, I did one of them in Bombala, apparently, according to Narelle Davis, honk, honk, just last week. It's recorded in the minutes. The mayor so made it. He didn't rule on any of the other acts of disorder, but that's why Narelle did it. See, I reckon Narelle's got this letter. She knows. E, an act or omission by the councillor intended by the councillor to prevent the proper or effective functioning of the council or committee of the council. And I would add F, if you take the piss out of the deputy secretary. It's misconduct. Section 438HA11 states the following. For the purposes of this section in Part 3 of Chapter 14, failure by a council to take action as required by a performance improvement order is to be taken to be misconduct. And I would argue, unless it's in reply to shitfuckery by the department releasing this confidential report to the media. Following consideration of a departmental report, there are several courses of action open to the Deputy Secretary, including referring the matter back to Council or to the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal. It is also open to the Deputy Secretary to take disciplinary actions if satisfied that you have engaged in misconduct and that disciplinary action is warranted. If we jump to the end of this ridiculous report, which is here, and I've been working on it, '97. It is open to the Deputy Secretary to find that Councillor Thaler has failed to comply with the Snowy-Monaro Regional Council's Code of Conduct as detailed above and that those failures constitute misconduct. 98. It is open to the Deputy Secretary to find that Councillor Thaler has failed to take action as required by a performance improvement order and that is to be taken to be misconduct. They've already made the decision. And they're saying that it's a draft confidential report. It's not a draft, is it, people? We're not stupid. So it goes on. Disciplinary action, council reprimand, direct to cease engaging in the misconduct, blah, blah, blah. Attached to this letter is a draft departmental report provided to you for the purpose of inviting a submission. And you got 14 days, being the 31 of March, and that wasn't really enough time. Any comments made by you in response? Should you not provide within 14 days, we'll proceed to finalise the report. The problem is they didn't provide the evidence that they're relying on. There's transcripts and there's photos and shit, but they haven't actually provided the video that they're relying on. And my argument is that their video could be adulterated or not the original. So I've asked for the originals to be provided such that my lawyer may also review them. Please note that it has not been possible to provide you with copies of the recordings. However, a link to the original website where they were posted is included. As you are the author of these recordings, you may already have access to them. If required, access to the recordings through a secure portal can be arranged. Well, department, you can't ask me to work on something if you haven't given it. You've just admitted you haven't given it to me. I have also written to the council's interim chief executive officer today to advise of the decision to prepare a departmental report into the matter. And there's a public interest disclosure. This letter and the enclosed draft departmental report, including those annexures which are not public documents, is strictly confidential. Unauthorised disclosure of this material may constitute a breach of section 6641 of the Act. This includes, but is not limited to, discussing this letter and the draft departmental report in a public forum. Disclosure of information relating to this matter may also constitute a breach of Part 9 of Council's Code of Conduct and the Performance Improvement Order dated 6th of February. You may, however, discuss the report and letter for the purposes of seeking legal advice. Now, who wants to hear? Alistair McDonald from ABC Southeast, 19th. I got this on the 18th. It was written on the 17th. Nicole Overall spoke in Parliament on the evening of the 18th of March, and this is Alistair McDonald in the morning, the 19th of March.
Received a letter from Mr. Honig yesterday giving you 14 days to reply, or you may be suspended for a month. And it's over a few recent social media posts, the one at the caravan park. It's something said about about Councillor Higgins and something about transgender member of staff. That's it in a nutshell.
Right.
And Nicole Overall also in Parliament calling on, saying Mr. Honig should do more, to deal with what she says is your behaviour. But then, of course, the government's saying, look, they've got legal processes and they're doing whatever is under the Act. So, that's what I guess I'm putting to you, if you want to comment or not.
So how did you get this information, though?
From the government. And Nicole was, she said it in Parliament.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. So I'm just trying to get my head around what you've just said, because it's a little bit left of field.
Yeah, okay.
So you're saying you got this from what do you mean by the government? I mean, how did the how did the government give this to you? I'm sorry, I'm missing something here because.
Yeah. All right, I'll give it to you in another nutshell. That you have received a letter from Mr. Honig about conduct on social media.
Okay, and how do you know? Because I've now got an email from Jordan Baker from the Sydney Morning Herald as well. Mm-hmm. So how do you know that? I mean, if you said you got it from the government, well, who told you that you got this from the government? I'm missing. There's something going on here that I don't get. I mean, so Jordan Baker from Sydney Morning Herald says, Andrew, Nicole Overall gave a speech last night in which she said you had contravened the LG order, your behaviour was causing chaos and disruption and was continuing to harass, and that further and tougher action is needed to stop your behaviour. Would you provide me with a response to this in writing at 11 a.m? And I was in a briefing all morning, so I haven't responded to her chief reporter, Sydney Morning Herald. So she's obviously working on something, but Please tell me a little bit better. I'm not trying to.
How I know what I know.
Well,
Basically.
I'm not trying to fuck you around, but the thing
Yeah,
is,
I know. I can tell you how I know what I know.
yeah. So that's my question. How do you know what you know, so I can respond appropriately? Because there's quite a problem here, and that's why I'm sort of thinking, hang on a minute, something's not adding up.
No, I want you to be able to respond. So I know you've got the letter from Steve One, and it's in relation to social media stuff, but I've also seen the social media stuff. So I'm going off videos I've seen.
Right.
That makes sense.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to find something here.
Anecdotes too, mate.
Well, here's the problem. You're not meant to know about it. Someone has broken the process, and no one's meant to know about this. The process is strictly confidential. You're not meant to know about this. And that's what I've said from day one, that Minister Honig has broken the law. And this is my response, Mr. Honig has violated...
Sorry to cut you off. Is it okay if I record?
Yeah, you have to...
Yep, I'll tell you when.
And I'm sorry, I was going to call you Daniel. It's not Daniel, it's Alistair?
Yeah, Daniel's the producer.
Yeah. Oh, he is, okay.
Yeah.
No, Alistair, ABC Southeast, yeah. I'm just going to call you Daniel for a minute. Sorry, mate.
I get called all kinds of stuff anyway. All my sports trophies have the wrong spelling. Yeah, can't blame your parents though, can you?
No.
All right, so just tell me when you're okay for me to record.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, okay. Because I want you to have your right reply, mate. Hold on. No. Okay. I'm rolling now. Can you give me your name and your title? I'll get some audio levels.
It's Andrew Thaler, Councillor, Snowy Monero Regional Council.
Thanks, Andrew. Now, so in response to Miss Overall's comments and also this letter you've received, what do you comment?
The first comment is Nicole Overall has abused her power in Parliament, and she has lied to the Parliament under the protection of parliamentary privilege. It is a disgusting and reprehensible act, but I am completely unsurprised that she would do that.
Oh, that's a good little grab.
You want some more?
Oh, sweet. Oh, it's up to you. But
well, do another question. You understand that there's a letter that's been sent to me, and I'll reply that you're not meant to know about that.
All right, well, we understand you've received a letter that gives you 14 days to reply.
Okay, and unfortunately, I'll read you a line from the letter. Quote, this letter and the enclosed draft departmental report, including those annexes which are not public documents, is strictly confidential. Unauthorised disclosure of this material may constitute a breach of Section 6641 of the Act, Local Government Act, New South Wales 1993. This includes, but is not limited to, discussing this letter and the draft departmental report in a public forum. Disclosure of information relating to this matter may also constitute a breach of Part 9 of the Council's Code of Conduct and the Performance Improvement Order dated 6th of February 2025. Signed, Jennifer Hickey, Executive Director, Sector Performance, Office of Local Government. I'm sorry, but someone has broken the law to try and get me, and that someone probably has become a parliamentarian in recent weeks again.
All right.
And if you're sitting on your ass and you're a bit nervous about what I've just read,
I was waiting for you to finish.
Sorry, I've just read you the section from the Act.
Yeah. All right.
So run it, put it on the radio. I'll give you my permission to put that on the radio, but I tell you that, yes, I got a letter through my lawyer, and I'm not allowed to talk about it, and you've got it at the ABC. So when did you get it at the ABC?
I don't have a letter.
Well, you've got notification of the letter existing, which I am strictly prohibited from advising anybody. So...
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm trying to join dots too. I don't know what's going on, so that's why I've called you.
Yeah. Well, that's...
That's an ABC Southeast Radio breakfast program reporter. And he knew about this letter. And it does say this letter in the closed draft departmental report is strictly confidential, and it's a breach of the legislation to reveal it. He went on and interviewed me the next day for another ABC interview, and then they didn't run any of it. They just talked about it. So that's the problem. So at the moment, it appears that what Nicole Overall said in the Parliament was correct. They want to put me into the NCAT. And so we go back to 438HA of the Act, where it says that the Minister may, on receipt of a departmental report finding that a councillor has failed to take action as required by performance improvement order, issue a compliance order. And so a compliance order must identify the action the councillor is required to take, and it must, if the councillor is allowed to continue to use facilities, define what those facilities are, and it must specify the period not exceeding 3 months. So basically, you get benched for 3 months. Then the Minister may, by written notice, extend the period to 6 months. Before issuing a compliance order, the Minister must give the councillor written notice specifying the action that the councillor has failed to take, specifying that the Minister proposes to issue a compliance order, and inviting the councillor to make submissions within a specified period not less than 7 days. The Minister is to withdraw a compliance order if satisfied that the councillor has taken the action specified. While a compliance order is in force against a councillor, the councillor A is not entitled to exercise any of the functions of the councillor other than as necessary to take the action specified in the compliance order. So basically, you can't vote in meetings, can't go to meetings, you don't get paid, you're not allowed to enter the building. And then B is not entitled to any fee or other remuneration, or to the payment of expenses, or to the use of council facilities to which he or she would otherwise be entitled as a councillor, except as specified in the compliance order. So you see where this is going. They can't kick me out. They can't get rid of me. They can bench me for 3 months. They can ban me from the building from being a councillor for 3 months, and they can extend it to 6 months. The Minister may, instead of taking action under this section, or after taking action under this section, or while a compliance order is in force against a councillor, request the departmental chief executive to refer the matter to the Civil and Administrative Tribunal for consideration, which is what Nicole Overall stood up in Parliament and said that she wants the Minister to do. Put him in the NCAT, get him cancelled, and ban him for 5 years from running for council. It's exactly what they're trying to do. It's exactly what all of this shit is about. And they broke their own fucking rules when they sent the letter to my lawyers. They gave this to the media. And the very next morning, the media are ringing me. You've just heard the reporter ringing and asking me about the content of this secret letter. So there's a denial of natural justice, and we go through the departmental report, and it goes on with all the various allegations, and then it contains all the annexes of information. So this is effectively going to maybe end up in court one way or another, but it's corrupt. And so they're calling it a code of conduct review, but that's not really what it is. And they've got a transcript of my Andrew Thaler Scrappy is live chatting about asbestos issues at Mikalago. And that was the one where I said, Councillor Thaler, I'm actually lounging in my lounge chair. I'm in my best clothes, about to go to work, actually. So it's not often that I'm at a loss for words, but sometimes you've got to tell a story and you're not quite sure to start with a story. And that's where we find ourselves this morning. Well, what's left of the morning. So I need to talk to you about asbestos issues at Mikalago. And I need to put a bunch of things on record. It'll probably lead to a code of conduct complaint or a round of new weird allegations by my fellow councillors. So, transcript of YouTube, code of conduct review. I'm not clairvoyant. I'm also not stupid. So the reason why this is important is because I am laying bare the absolute corruption of the state government, the Office of Local Government, our council, and the state of Australian politics. And Americans, you think you got it bad in America. Canada's got it bad. Marie Le Pen from the far right was banned for running, so that she can't run in the next French presidential elections based on some allegations. No surprises that the findings that she can appeal. Apparently, even if she appeals the judgment, she can't stay the application of the ban against running for parliament. So this is the lefties in control of the parliaments everywhere going nuts. Now, this all is supposed to be top secret. I can't talk about it to anybody. I am talking about it now because I'm getting so many people ringing up wanting to understand it. I didn't leak it. The government did. You heard the guy, the ABC journalist. I got it from the government, and I was trying not to giggle when I'm saying the government. The government? He's the government. The ABC's the government. He's the ABC. So that's where we're at, people. I said this morning in my post, we've got a meeting in 2 days on Thursday. I am treating that as my second last meeting. I believe it'll be my second last meeting. 2 weeks later in April, just before Easter, we've got a council meeting on Thursday and Easter Good Friday. I believe that will probably be my last council meeting. And then I'll be suspended or whatever the fuck they're going to do. Because whatever they're going to do, they're going to do it. Doesn't matter about what the law says or what my rights are. None of them have ever been honoured or respected. I got a few big surprises for the meeting this week. I'm unleashed. I'm unchained. And say what I like. The whole process is broken and it's ridiculous. It's not all doom and gloom though. I've got some humorous things. I got this one. I got mates everywhere. So one of my good mates, Troy Stoles, he's the whistleblower. He's in Upper Hunter Council. He lives in Merriwa, and he got elected to the Upper Hunter Council. They had a council meeting last night. They're toxic. National Party are in control, really toxic. He's lost his supporters in the council, so he's just one voice against 8. Anyway, one of the crazy councillors put up a motion last night at the Upper Hunter Council to put a toll on the coal trains as they go through Scone. Scone's a town up in the Hunter Valley. And the Hunter Valley is like one of the biggest coal mining areas on the planet. And there is 4,500 trains of coal. And we're talking like 90 wagons, 100 wagons, with each has got 80 tons of coal in each wagon. So we're talking like 7,000 tons of coal per wagon, and there's 4,500 trains, each with between 70 and 120 wagons. Like that's just the northern line. You've still got the coal on the Mount Thorley line, which forks off just before it, right next to my solar farm. So they want to put a toll, and I'm just wondering if they're going to have like a little boom gate comes down, and the train's like, and the train pulls up. Does the train driver just throw 100 notes into the plastic basket? Do you remember if you were a kid? I'm 52. And when I was a kid, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years of age, if we went up the F6 north of Wollongong, just at the Sutherland end of the F6, there was a toll booth, and you had to chuck 20 cents, and then it was 40 cents in the plastic basket and be allowed to drive through. And if you went over the Harbour Bridge, you had to put 20 cents or 40 cents in. And then when I was driving, it was $1, and then it was $2. And you used to have to chuck money in the baskets. And it was a real bastard if you're in the truck and you missed or it bounced out. So I wonder if Upper Hunter Council is how they're going to collect their toll on the trains. So anyone thinks our council's a bit stupid, well, Upper Hunter is definitely, it's like neck and neck. Stupidest. No, we're stupidest. No, we're stupidest. No, we're the stupidest. We're in a race to the bottom. Outside of that, Do Nothing Dunshea has been living up to his reputation. If you go and look at the Shoalhaven Council, one of the Facebook pages following Shoalhaven City Council, where he was, the auditor has put out their report around council about New South Wales, and one of the most illiquid councils in New South Wales was Shoalhaven, where Mr. Dunshea was their CEO, and he lost control of their fleet. Every worker had a bloody car, and they were buying them on salary sacrifice, and The fringe benefits tax liability in the council ballooned out to $700,000 a year or something. Just do nothing done, Shay. He just didn't keep control. And so they got a really bad scorecard from the auditor, major problems, and just crazy. Crazy. And that's who we've got on our council. Now, Polo Flat. Who remembers Polo Flat Road earlier in the year? Last year, 10 months ago, our council rebuilt an 800-metre length of road, not a kilometre, 800 metres. They spent $1 million. They raised the level of the road and they put bitumen on top. Do it every day. Pretty standard thing, right? They fucked it up. And they fucked it up in such a bad way that when the temperature got to 22 or 23 or 24 degrees Celsius, it's not much, not in Australia, where our summer we get to 40. We got to about 24 degrees Celsius, and the road started sticking to the tyres of the cars and the trucks as they drove, and the bitumen started getting thrown everywhere. The council didn't make it properly with their contractor. And there's what's called a defects liability period, which runs for 12 months. In most standard industrial contracts, you have to warrant your work, and you have a defects liability period. And so that defects liability period would technically run out around about 1 July, 30 June, thereabouts. We're closing in on it. We're the 1st of April today. We're only a couple of months away. The road completely failed. $1 million basically wasted. Do we have a claim against the company that built it? My information is that the owner or the operator of the company that built it, Jennings in Bombala, is mates with our mayor. And there's been no progress. I've asked 8 times or 9 times, can't remember, for a copy of the contract, copy of the construction drawings and diagrams, copy of the sign-off and progress reports, copy of the geotechnical reports, all those sort of things. As a councillor monitoring the council in governance, you think that they would give that stuff to me. I want to understand, how did the road fail so that when we redo a road somewhere else, it doesn't fail again. We've also had road failures at Tindery, road failures at Avonside, road failures in Durangle. Common link to all of those: our council and Jennings. So a couple of months ago, because of my questioning and my persistent questioning, I refused to accept the assurances of staff that everything was okay. And I said, I think you need a geotechnical report. You need to check the strength of the road base. And they argued, and then they did it. They went and actually did it. They got core samples. There was about 8 core samples of the road. And that's where they drill a hole about that round, 6 inches. They might go down a foot or 2 feet, take a core sample, and then they do an analysis of that material, measure its strength, composition, how well it can withstand weight, etc. So that was done probably 2 months ago. Those reports take about 7 days, maybe a week to write and a week to do the science work. Haven't provided. I asked a month ago from one of the roads engineers, and he said, yeah, we've got the report. We've just got to work on the numbers. And then I saw him 2 weeks later and said, have you got those numbers? And he said, what? No, we haven't. We're still waiting for the report. So I wrote a series of emails saying, can you please clarify your information to me? And I didn't get a response for a while. I'm just getting my computer, my other computer. And then it seemed like council was playing games. And I said, well, can you... one of our recent council meetings, though it could have been a briefing section, I had a very short conversation with you in respect of the engineering geotech report for the recent analysis of Polo Flat Road, and I distinctly recall you replying to me that you would receive the results, but they had to be worked on to interpret them. Yesterday, I asked you for further information on how the results worked out, and you told me approximately you didn't have the report. You were still waiting for it. And I said, as this council has now moved on into a strategy of not informing councillors about anything that the council believes we do not need to know, I find the incongruity of your 2 replies troublesome. Have you been directed to lie to me about the things that I inquire? I perceived you had a look of being uncomfortable. I humbly apologise to you if my question caused you discomfort. So the questions are, do you have the report or not? And do you plan to inform me and this council of the results of the investigation or not? I respectfully remind you, blah, blah, blah. I was really polite, right? And nothing. And then I wrote back a while later, I'm still waiting on a reply. I note Mr. Dunche indicated you were able to reply. So the CEO did say, yes, staff can reply to Mr. Thaler. And then I got an email I wrote again yesterday. And then Dunche says, see response. And the response was nothing. So I wrote today and said, Stephen, knowing how contracts and tendering and supply of service systems work, I find it completely incongruous that Zach would not have the geotech report by now, notwithstanding my recollection that many weeks ago he told me he had received it and the work was physically completed weeks prior to that. I can see the holes in the road where the core samples were obtained. Just how slow are our procurement processes, as it looks like it'll be next summer before we sort out the final treatment of the road. Certainly, it appears we will certainly fall out of the 12-month defects liability period to claim against Jennings on the basis of the results of the geotech report. Jennings made that length of road, and it appears to be their substandard work that directly contributed to the failure. Is that actually the agenda? You people think I'm stupid. You treat me as if I'm stupid. I remind you, I'm not. OLG, Office of Local Government. This is where I refer to the Office of Local Government. I make this complaint that it now appears that this council is not pursuing the relevant information in the failed construction of a circa $1 million road in Polo Flat, such that we might understand the reasons behind its catastrophic failure. To that end, where we might have redress and claim against the construction insurance of the contractor, we have a strict 12-month limitation and we are fast approaching that deadline. At a minimum, we face another $500,000 expense to rectify and finalise that length of road on top of the circa $100,000 we spent putting an emergency layer on it, because I recommended that too. We spent limping, face another, rectify. Turn the light on, please. And we spent limping the failed road through the long, warm summer. I say warm summer, not hot weather. The seal failed in October when we reached 22 degrees Celsius, which in all honesty is hardly hot. OLGBS, that's what OLGBS office, is what they call themselves. I'm not joking. It's supposed to be the OLG Business Services Office. I call it the OLG Bullshit Office. How should we best proceed? Please advise ASAP. I also have information that the current mayor, Chris Hanna, has a personal friendship with the Jennings Company. Kind regards, Andrew Thaler. Almost immediately, I get a response from the general manager. Hashtag do nothing Dunche. It's actually hashtag did something, little something Dunche. John, Zach, could you please provide an update to all councillors on the status of the geotech, please? Regards, Stephen Dunche. That, unfortunately, is the only way that we've found that we can get these people to actually do their bloody job. And let's not forget that Dunche's on like 350 grand. These other guys are on 160 to 200. How many weeks do we have to wait to get a simple fucking geotech report where someone drilled a hole in the road and did a squash test, looked at the rocks and can tell us, yeah, it's fucked, or yeah, it's okay? My friends who build roads get that in a week. Not so our council, it appears. It takes months. And people say, oh, Andrew, you're a bit hard. No, I'm trying to stop money being wasted. Because we have to find $500,000 to fix that road. It's not fixed. It's got a temporary protection layer on the top, which was only meant to last a couple of months through summer. It's cooled down now. We'll get a bit longer. We'll get winter out of it. But there's a shitload of trucks that use that road. And we have big trucks with all the logs and the heavy freight. 76-ton B doubles. We've now got tries, so it's a semi-trailer pulling a semi-trailer. My truck is 50-ton, and mine's a little one, and it's up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, depending. It's a hill. So why do I have to try to invoke the power of the Office of Local Government to give us direction? And of course, the Office of Local Government won't reply, but that's not the point. I've kicked Dunche into gear. So a couple of other issues. We've only got Do Nothing Dunche for about 6 weeks. and then we'll have a new CEO. So we're in the middle of the recruitment at the moment. So to give you an update, we had 48 applications for the role, which means there's healthy interest. So a lot of people were really nervous that nobody would want to work with our council. I don't think that's a particularly difficult thing to share, because I want to share with you that we have had a really, really strong interest in being our CEO. A lot of people in the community were worried that nobody would want to do it. We've had really strong interest. So the problem is I'm not allowed to share information from within confidential meetings, but that information was provided in a not meeting. It's not confidential, is it? There's a lot of other information I've got, which I won't share, but 48 applications. What's interesting is that Armidale Council is recruiting for a CEO, and they actually pulled the pin. I asked their CEO, who resigned, asked if he would stay on for 12 more months, which he agreed to do. So they have stepped out of the market. But there's about 10 or 12 councils actively recruiting for CEOs at the moment. So it's a bit of a busy market. But we've had 48 people apply. We've created a shortlist with the assistance of the recruitment agency. They are doing preliminary interviews, or what we call first round interviews. And then we will have a tightened shortlist. And then I think next week, our council will have a meeting. It's an informal meeting. It's an interviews. So it'll be confidential, but it's not strictly a meeting, and we won't make any decisions. And we will interview the shortlisted candidates ahead of potentially making a decision in the April council meeting, which might allow us to start someone 1 June, which would be great, because Dunshay's awful. I've got no respect for that man. He's not capable of doing his job, even with 41 years experience in local government. He can't tell me the truth, can't even look me in the eye. And he wants to play pissing competitions where I can talk over you, Councillor Thaler. Yeah, I can too. I can talk over you. Where's the code of conduct? Where's the investigation of the CEO being a cunt in our meetings, deliberately talking over me or lying to me? Sorry, did I say cunt? I mean can't. I got the word wrong. Sorry. Oh dear. There'll be another transcript. Andrew, you said a bad word. I had the fucking police raid my business on Friday on false allegations. Again. I don't think anyone really appreciates, my friends do, really appreciate how much shit is being thrown at me by the corrupt government here in New South Wales, here in the Monero. Corrupt police, corrupt politicians, Steve Wan, corrupt as fuck. Did you notice that the journalist used Steve Wan's name when he was talking to me, and he got a bit flustered when I told him it's confidential. You're not meant to release that information. You're not meant to know about it. Oh, well, Steve Wan. Did he get the information from Steve Wan? Steve Wan's in the Labor Party. The Minister for Local Government's in the Labor Party. Why did Steve Wan's name pop up in that conversation? It's a bit of a head scratcher, that one, isn't it? The waste and incompetence, personal opinion, is astounding. Not to get this done within warranty. I sound like managers, not leaders. Yeah. A pro-Ukrainian channel. No, I'm not a pro-Ukrainian. I'm mates with the Aussie Cossack. I'm not. This is not a pro-Ukrainian channel. Not at all. Sorry. And if you're overseas, Australia, southern New South Wales, it's a stupid place. It really is a stupid place. We are living in an open-air prison. I shared my opinion on this the other day. We live in an open-air prison. You can't just hop on a boat and fuck off. You won't get far. I mean, it's 2,500 kilometres to New Zealand, and it's like 10,000 kilometres to something after that. Like, it's a long way to anywhere, but a Decranian. Well, anyway, thanks for playing along, shoppers. we are in a weird space at the moment, and one of my only defenses I have is just to tell the story. Just tell the truth. Tell it like it is. Tell the truth, put the facts on the table. I did that. I read out the warrant. The police raided me for stolen stuff that I was storing as a favor for somebody, and it was all still there where I put it. Been storing it. I've been looking after it, keeping the battery charged and keeping the motor turning over with all the things I said I would do, and then I'm accused of not doing it, but I was doing it. How do we undo the damage done to me by those actions? No, I'm not pro-Israel. How do we take back the stress for my son? And I told you this story. When he was 7, he was able to finally drive one of my forklifts. I got like 10 forklifts for my businesses. He was finally able to drive one of the bigger ones. He could push the clutch in and out, and he could drive it. And he was so excited. He's been coming to work with me. He'd sit next to me on the forklift. He was involved in watching everything from a little baby all the way up. Proud dad moment, I called it. # proud dad moment. And he had his sisters on the back of the forklift, and they're younger. And they went for a drive while I walked next to him. And it's so slow. The forklift goes as fast as I walk. I was reported to the authorities, and they came and investigated unlicensed driving of a forklift. And here he was the other day. He's 15 and a half now, and he's pretty capable. He can drive that fork nearly as good as me. No, not as good as me. Nearly as good as me. He's pretty good. He's a bloody good kid. There he was. He's got one eye on the cops, keeping an eye on them. He's driving the forklift. So what's next? We get reported to work cover for an unlicensed driving of a forklift in our scrapyard. Is that what happens? That's what's coming? They've thrown everything else at me. Anyone that's watching my channel and looking at it going like, WTF, what the fuck? Yeah, I've been arrested. I've been charged so many times now, I've forgotten. Most of the charges have been withdrawn, or I've beaten them at court because I've been innocent all the time. My Facebook's now getting blocked and restricted. You won't guess the coincidence. I got raided on Friday. The federal election of Australia was called on Friday morning while I was being raided. I'm an independent candidate running in that election. I ran in the last election. I ran in 2013, 2018. I've run in all the state elections. I've run in the council elections. I got elected to the council, which is what we're talking about. And what do? False allegations, raids, lies, shit talk me in the media, dodgy investigations and departmental reports that are top secret. And they give them to the media before I get them. Spot the bloody trend, shoppers. It's bullshit. I killed a black guy. No, I didn't. Yeah, Silver Fox. I was teaching my kids when they could walk. Sitting in their forklift with me. We've got a big telehandler as well. People call them Manitous. Chuck them in there with me. Even my girls can drive my forklifts now. I've got 5 kids. Shake my head. This is a community service at some cost. I've done nothing but council shit today and yesterday, and probably a fair bunch of it tomorrow. Miles behind in my own work. And then I've got a council meeting all day Thursday. It's crazy. Where's the break point? Where's the end? I'm just hoping we can get him come on, you got some silly comments out there tonight. I'm just hoping we can get a good CEO for the council and start to undo the rot, because the Monero is a beautiful place to live, but it's rapidly unaffordable. Now, I'm going to leave you on this thought because I'm doing some research on it in between everything else. There's an article, news thing on the Project, which is not the most reliable news outlet, I must admit, but on the Project. And they were talking about the new, I wrote it down. There's too much in my head. I had to write it down. Fire levies are being converted across Australia, everywhere but Northern Territory and Tasmania, apparently. So they're going to call it the So the Emergency Services Levy has been converted into the Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund. And it starts on the 1st of July, and they're expecting to raise $1.6 billion. So they're going to use a tax on the capital improved value of land. So they want to take the fire levy from insurance policies for home insurance, car insurance, things, boats and trucks and shit like that, and put it onto land, because land is immovable. You can't hide your land. You can't fail to insure your land. See, when it's on the insurance policies, people are dropping insurance policies and they're not bothering with insurance because you can't afford it. So they're going to go to the capital improved value of land. And that's the first big, massive red flag. Who gets to set the capital improved value? That's called the sale price or the market value. But if you're not selling, like I'm not selling any of my land, what is the capital improved value? Is it $1 million? Is it 2 million? Is it 500,000? The unimproved capital value is the bare land value, which the government has a process to do annual valuations. And so that would be a much better place. Study tube. I don't know what he's talking about. Can someone explain? I am explaining. So, to date, the rates in Victoria were 8.7 cents per $1,000 capital improved value. They're going up for homes. They're going up to 17.3 cents per $1,000. Businesses will go from 66 to 133 cents per $1,000. $1.33 per thousand. So it's a 1.3% tax rate. No, 0.13% tax rate. Farms go from 28.7 cents to 83 cents. So they triple per thousand. So basically, if you've got $1 million business, you're looking at around $1,300 a year, fire and emergency and volunteers fund. If you've got a $220,000 farm, you're looking at $292 a year. If you've got a $500,000 house, you're looking at $90 a year. But then I found out there's a base rate. Houses are about 190. Everyone else is about 300, just under 300 as a base rate. So you're looking at big money. So if this comes in on my properties, and I've got 5 properties, I'm looking at probably $10,000 a year, $200 a week in the emergency services and volunteer funds being applied to my rates on top of what I'm already paying with rates, which is like $16,000 a year in rates. So my truck costs $16,500 a year to register, and the 5 properties rates is in the order of $15,000 a year. It's $30,000 before I get out of bed on New Year's Day, just in fucking tax to the lazy state government. And this emergency services and volunteers levy, what does it pay for? It pays for the helicopters to bomb water and fuck us around. It pays for all the fire trucks that ponce around. It doesn't pay for the volunteers because they're free. They're volunteering. It pays for the bureaucrats who don't hold hoses like Langdon Gould in at the Cooma Fire Centre. It pays for the bureaucrats who manage the emergency services systems. It doesn't pay for the volunteers. It's a massive slug on top of what we're already being slugged. Yes, I am from Australia, study tube. The innocent bystander says, the averaging of rates is a bullshit system. It desperately needs changing. Always good to get it valued under a reassessment. Yes, we always try to object. So Elisa and I bought some land in 2018, what we call our Tom Grogan farm block. And we paid $100,000. We had agreed to pay 80, we got gazumped. So we ended up paying $100,000. And that included dams, sheds, couple of water tanks, stockyards, fences, gates, driveway, etc. Capital improved value, we agreed, $100,000. The government said that the land was worth 70. The next year, they said the land was worth 100. We objected and we got it back down to 70. The year after that, they agreed it was 70. The year after that, 120. The year after that, 180, and last year, 220. Land value only, meaning that the land was probably worth 300,000 with an underlying capital land value, unimproved, of 220. And of course, they charge 1.6% tax, land tax. So they want to charge rates, which is about 1.5%, about $2,000 a year. And then you're looking at $2,500 a year land tax. And now these motherfuckers want $1,500 fire and emergency services levy. That's a lot of money. And what do we get? Fire brigade won't come to my property. My property is prohibited. The fire brigade here in Nimidabel have got my property marked as do not attend because it's owned by Andrew Thaler, and they will not attend my property. Why would I pay for an emergency levy when my property is not going to be protected? How many other properties have got that? Because I know it's not just me. There's a few properties around this area that are marked do not attend. Australia is wrecked. R-E-K-T. It's fucked. And it's a hell of a fight. It's a hell of a fight to get our country back from these morons that are in charge. 50% of our population are basically bureaucrats or on the dole or on the pension or on the NDIS or all of the above. We're in the middle of a federal election. Well, sorry, not in the middle. Started on Friday. We've got a federal election in a month and 2 days. Make better choices, people. Don't vote red, don't vote blue, and sure as fuck, don't vote for the green. But if you look carefully, you'll see that this election is only about the red and the blue with a little bit of teal, if you feel so inclined to vote teal. Go and have a look at the teals. 80% of the teal candidates are women. Why is that? Has anyone stopped and wondered? Why is that? Why are 80% of the teal candidates women? And of some of the teals that we've had to put up with for the last 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is, Monique Ryan, absolute nasty, nasty woman. Who would vote for her? To make better choices. I'll stand as an independent. Kevin Lockray, good mate of mine up in the northern Ballina area, he'll stand as an independent. I've been sharing his videos. Please help me share his videos as well. He got a couple of good view counts. I'll hook him up and get him on a Dean's show, on the radio show. Please vote independent everywhere. Kick the red and the blue out. They're not interested in us. I've actually got brochures from Christy McBain, who's our current federal member. 1 sec. I'll be back in 20 seconds. Sorry about that. Christy McBain. This was the 2020 election. Dear Elisa, it's my wife, I need your support to fix mobile black spots. We need to fix mobile black spots. It's good for business and families, and it can be life-saving during a crisis. For 7 years, the Liberals and Nationals promised to fix the 385 mobile black spots in our region, but they've failed to deliver. During the summer bushfires, emergency crews were forced to drive house to house to spread the news because so many people were left without reliable mobile coverage. Well, that's bullshit. When you need help, you shouldn't have to rely on luck or stand by the side of the road. Eden Monero on Saturday, 4th of July, is your chance to send a strong local voice to Canberra who will fight to make sure our region is not forgotten. You forgot about us, Christy. You did fuck all. Here's your other little shitty brochure that you sent out. Oops, upside down. Help Christy McBain fix mobile black spots. And it's got a mobile tower head. Sign the petition. Fun fact, Christie was investigated by the Auditor General for pork barreling the round 5 of fixing mobile black spots funding program. Did she fix any black spots? No. Has the mobile network got worse while Christie's been in power for 3 terms? Yes, it has. Can you do digital banking on your phone or get email on the 4G signal in Nimitabel? No, you can't. Can you make a digital call? Most of the time, no, you can't. What am I running on at the moment? There's a Starlink up there. What's at my work up the road? Starlink. Has Christie done anything to fix mobile phone black spots? The answer is no. But she sent out these shitty brochures in the last election. And what's Christie promising this election? A new pool for Bega and a mountain bike track. She doesn't give a fuck about your mobile phones or your connectivity or your black spots. She won't fix Brown Mountain Road. So you would need to put an independent into Eden Monero and into Ballina and in any other seat that you can. She doesn't even answer letters. Correct. You went to Island Bend. The reception was very patchy from Jindabyne to Canberra. Correct. All the 3G got turned off. 3G reached a lot further than 4G, and 5G hardly reaches anywhere. So by turning the 3G off, our system got worse. That's the reality of voting for the red team or the blue team. I've rung Joanne Vanderplat, the Liberal candidate, 3 times in the last 4 days. 0 answers. Doesn't ring me back. She knows who I am, won't talk to me. And interestingly, the churches around the state all seem to have had these meet the candidate events. There's 2 of them that I've seen of so far where only Liberal and Labor went. Had this little get together. There was no one there watching the couple that I saw, but it's disgusting, the duopoly. I'm not included. I'm not allowed in. Whatever. It's going to be a pretty tough month. Got a lot to do. If we can get a good CEO in place before I get kicked out of the council, then that'll be a mission. If they want to take me to the NCAT, to the Civil and Administrative Tribunal, happy days. Because I will rub their face in their own shit. Because they have broken the law, continually broken the law. And that's where this needs to go. And if the government don't take me to the NCAT, it's really hard for me to take them there because I read you the legislation. Nowhere did it said what my rights of appeal were as a councillor, the subject of disciplinary action. I need them to take me to the NCAT. It doesn't look like I can take them to it. And I need them to all remember, I was elected because of who I am. This is who I am. Why should I change? It's your systems that are broken, not mine. It's your code of conduct that the minister has said is not fit for purpose. It's your code of meeting practice that the minister has said has been politicised, weaponised and abused. Yes, correct. And I've proven it again and again and again and again. And I'll prove it again on Thursday. Please come to our council meeting at 81 Commissioner Street, 1 p.m. I will have bicycle honkers in case the mad, demented, honking goose honks. Locals know what I'm talking about. I'll share up the live stream link. You can watch from afar and watch our meeting. I'm not backing down. I'm not giving up. I'm tired. I'm worn out. I'm fucking sick of it. But I'm not giving up. But it might well be my second last meeting. April might be my last meeting. Hopefully we can put a good CEO in place. We've got a couple of good, strong names. And it's about the best we can do. So come along, join the crowd. Come and witness the shit fight that it is with your own eyes. And watch the mayor struggle and the CEO lie to us. We've got a fluoride water debate, COVID debate, reviewing delegations debate, and having a meeting every fortnight debate. It's a tough gig. I knew that. But it's made all the worse because of the corruption. And it's Christian McBain and the Labor Party that are the worst. That's who's the worst out of all of them. So anyway, 1 o'clock Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. Good night. Thanks, Dieseline Films. We do need to pump the water out of the bilge. That's for bloody sure. Thanks, bystander.